What will actually end white supremacy? Okay, in my honest opinion, you're not going to end white supremacy by changing white people's minds. Because if white people wanted to change, it would have already changed. So there is no changing them. The goal is to change other groups of people's minds. Because, in my honest opinion, white people are only like 10% of the population. And melanated people are 90% of the population. But they allow 10% of the population to dominate them because they lack self-worth and self-confidence. So I definitely believe if you just instill a sense of confidence in the other 90% of the population, white supremacy will end overnight, I believe. And I feel like the only group of people that's shown some form of confidence and self-worth recently is probably the Asians, to be honest, the Chinese and Japanese, Even though a lot of them do like to kiss white people asses and they have like a inferiority complex, and a lot of them are getting surgery to match European beauty standards. But I feel like they have the second strongest culture outside of Black American culture. So they're starting to develop a sense of self-worth and self-consciousness where they're not treating white people like gods. So I definitely would say them are like the next closest things to having mental capacity to combat white supremacy. And like I said, like 90% of the population, when I say 90%, I'm talking about the Hispanics, the Middle Easterns, the Africans. The Africans have an entirely different issue going on. I feel like they so lost that they don't even know how to get over tribal beef, But if you were to start somewhere with a group of people who are able to combat white supremacy, you would have to start with the Asians, I believe, and then slowly work your way to the Middle Easterns, and then the Hispanics, and then finally the Africans. Because I feel like Africans, is way too many people over there. They got way too many resources, and they still don't know how to work together. They still letting white people take their money, take their resources just to make phones. They can make phones in their own country. They can make skyscrapers in their own country. They can build anything you can ever imagine in their own country. Half of the things that China used to manufacture comes from Africa. Same thing with all these other countries. So at a certain point, Africans just gotta wake up naturally. I think the last people we should be allying with currently are Africans, because they just need to get over their shit, like I said. And the first in line would naturally be the Asians. And yeah, that's all I have to say.